Okay guys, so just a quick update. As I said, I'm going to France in a few weeks in this car, and as typical as you can imagine, it starts making a noise there the other day when I'm driving it, like a tappet almost, you know. It's this kind of rattle at around 2000 or 1800 RPM, which obviously could be vibrations or something like that. So I put it up and I look and I find that the gear lever mechanism has, the bushings have just disintegrated or no longer existent. So I went and bought the two little bushings. They're only about that size, so they push right through. I just used a bolt and a washer and a socket on one side and pushed them through, and took the linkage off the gearbox and pushed that through. Not a majorly complex job in technicality, but finicky, you know, just because of the area you're working in. You don't want to be dropping the entire setup for that. Anyway, that was that. I thought that might solve it, and maybe it has. It's very hard for me to know now because I'm after driving a few hundred miles with this rattle, so I can't actually tell if it's gone or if it's back or not. It was very noticeable the first time. I might put in a clip of it here. Background, it sounds quite bad. Anyway, I don't know if it fully solved it, so I said I've got a squeaky brake caliper back there, so I said I'd come in, just grease the brake shoes and have a look at the caliper, make sure that the caliper is gone. I think it is failed. So while I was at it, I would do a suggestion that Christoph off the OM606 page made a suggestion to me in a private message to drop. He thought it sounded a little bit like a torque converter possibly, and I think it is gearbox related, because in park or in neutral the noise doesn't seem to be there, whereas under load when you're driving it is. So I dropped about a jar full of the fluid from it, which is not looking great considering it's only 4,000, 5,000 miles old, and it's quite a bad colour considering that's the colour it would have went in as. So that's not good, but maybe it's ordinary, maybe it's normal. I don't work that much on automatic cars. I don't really know what they should look like after that kind of mileage. But anyway, so that's that. We have pulled that. I have a magnet beside that to see if there's any metal shavings that stick to the side when this all settles. Hopefully this will settle and there'll be, or well, hopefully it doesn't settle. Maybe this is the colour, and actually that's probably better that it doesn't settle, because that means maybe that there is no mix-up of other contaminants in there. But I'm going to leave that and come back to that in a little while. It does have a red colour. You might not be able to tell it from that, but it's very dark. It's oxblood red, you know. Other things that I've noticed is my power steering seems to be under a lot of pressure. It seems to be pumping out a little bit, leaking a little bit at all different joints. I don't know what the cause is of that. Maybe I need to put a bigger wheel on it or something like that, or I doubt that's the case. So I need to work out what's the story with that. And I have noticed possibly a sound of the power steering when I'm driving every now and then. It's hard to know what that sound is. It could easily be the binding of the back brake as well, you know. It's got a kind of a weird sound to it. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm kind of a bit worried for my holiday because I don't want to break down over in France. For not just for the financial problem of getting it home or it breaking down over there and having to get it fixed over it. It's just, you know, when you're with your family and everything like that, the last thing you want is have to deal with anything like that and the stress of all of that. Anyway, that's the update for this week. I will report back when I know more about that fluid, and let's just see. At some point it's probably going to be time to put that newer 722.6 gearbox in, and you know, this also could be because of the rear differential having so much The gearbox have a 1-to-1 ratio, and the rear differential being a 3.07 means my RPM is quite high all of the time when I'm on the motorway, and that probably over the space of these 11,000 miles has maybe caused an issue as well. Anyway, I will report back, guys. Alright, and I did check the turbo's okay. Alright, bye. Alrighty guys, so I studied the oil that came out, or the ATF fluid that came out of the gearbox, and there was a few little particles in it, but not magnetic. There was nothing that my magnet would stick to. And then as I'm dropping this, I cleaned this pan beforehand, and as I'm dropping it and getting these little bits as well, again, when I get my hands on them, so let me see if I can get some there. You can sort of see if you can see that. See that little bit there? And as I move it around, I can actually break it up and mold it into a different shape, almost like a putty or something like that. My thinking, and I might be totally wrong here, is that the clutch pack material, or the clutch material, is that kind of stuff, or maybe it's as simple as a bit of the silicone that would have been used for the gasket has just gotten in to the valve train on it, or into the valves on it. I don't know. I'm going to change out the filter, draining the box there at the moment. Change out the filter and the gasket, and I'm going to throw a bit of this stuff into it, and we'll see what good that does with some fresh X13 as well. And we'll see. I'm going to drive it then for a week and take another little sample of it and just see if the sample comes back all burnt again, or if it stays a nice pink colour. As you can see there, while it is red, it's like an ox plug red, you know, it's definitely not pink as it should be. You can see it there. It has a red colour, but it's only 5,000 miles since I dropped the pan on it. I never drained the torque converter at that time. Anyway guys, I will report back. Alrighty guys, so I dropped the sump and I didn't notice anything alarming inside of there. I mean the gearbox sump pan. So I pulled the filter out and opened it up, and I have a little bit of debris again in there, not magnetic, so this must be the clutch material. And as you might be able to see there, there's little bits. I cut the filter open and there's little bits inside of that. So we have a clutch disc. One of the clutch discs is giving trouble, or all of them, I don't know. So that's not great, is it? That's not good. It's also not the end of the world because there's no metal in it, so it's not disintegrating. It's actually just burning clutch disc. Equally, so this might mean then that the clutch itself is just wearing down rather than being totally destroyed. There's no big massive pieces in it, so I don't know if that means that it's just wearing down. It would also suggest, it might also tell us why it was burning. It was generating heat, why the fluid is burning, which is basically just getting hot because the clutch disc or the metal and steel were expanding and getting quite warm from bad friction, or that's all I can really think of. What I'm hoping, again, this could be a case of a bit of slip in those clutch packs is causing it to rip off bits of material as well, or shave itself. Bad pressure, possibly bad gearbox pressure, not getting a very positive engagement in those clutch packs either. So my thinking is I'm going to put the Lucas gearbox slip fix into the gearbox, and again, like I say, I'm going to drive it for a week and drop a little bit of oil, so enough, and just see what we're looking at there, if there's any little bits in that. I imagine there will be, but it's a case of how much. There's no way that even this flush will do a proper job of getting rid of all of this out of it. Now the filter was working, the filter didn't get overwhelmed, so there's a bit of positivity in that. It most likely didn't send the filter probably did its job there and kept all of that out of the valve bodies. So again, we're probably in a good place there. So if it's a case of rebuilding the transmission, I might end up having to do that. Equally, I might end up going for one of those off-gear controllers and run a more modern gearbox for the 5th gear. It's all up in the air at the moment. My main thing is to try and see if I can get this car reliable for its trip to France in a few weeks' time. I'm not going to get into rebuilding the gearbox before I go to France. So it's either a case of does it come back good from using the Lucas treatment on it, and if that does, and the gearbox oil seems okay and it's not burning very, very quickly in the space of a week, then I might be alright to keep going. I'm going to have to make a judgment call on that at that point. Anyway guys, I will report back in a week's time after the gearbox oil has been cycled through it, and we'll see what we get. Thanks for watching.